Gainesville. WDUN-FM, Clarksville, Gainesville.
It's 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. A flurry of activity and statements in Washington about a possible deal presented from House Speaker John Boehner to increase the nation's debt limit. More live now from the White House and Fox News Radio's Mike Makowitz.
They aren't using the word negotiation, but House Republicans call their meeting with the president a constructive dialogue.
We had a very useful meeting. It was clarifying, I think, for both sides as to where we are.
That's the House Republican leader, Eric Cantor. Republicans came in with an offer to extend the debt ceiling until November 22nd and then begin negotiations. But the White House and Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid made it clear they want the partial government shutdown ended, too.
The government should be open now. We should be able to pay our debts. And as we've said and will continue to say, if that happens, we'll negotiate on anything.
The White House not saying it rejected the GOP offer, but rather no specific determination was made.
Mike, some delayed death benefits now one step closer to being paid to families who've lost loved ones in military action since the start of the current partial government shutdown.
The Senate today quickly moved to pass a new House bill to eliminate the confusion and explicitly pay death benefits during the shutdown. The act passed unanimously despite promises from Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid not to consider piecemeal spending bills.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin in Washington. Each military family due $100,000, that money being covered for the time being by a military charity. Libya's prime minister thanking those who helped free him after his kidnapping by gunmen earlier today. Ali Zidane, though, not providing any details about what happened and not pointing any fingers at possible suspects. Zidane snatched from his hotel and held for several hours. A strong day on Wall Street today. The Dow finishing up 323 points. The Nasdaq finishing up 82. The S&P rising 36. However, first-time unemployment claims rising by 66,000. And you're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Local and live. This is WDUN News.
Good evening from the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom. I'm Allison Shields. Organizers have started an online petition in support of Hall County commissioners enacting an anti-tethering ordinance for dogs. WDUN's Derek Booth has more.
Humane Society of Northeast Georgia Executive Director David Arias says his agency is in support of the measure. His family has dogs, and he says it's not intended to prevent casual, temporary tethering in the yard. He says it's for egregious cases.
They'll purchase a dog or get a dog maybe when they even shouldn't have, and they'll leave them on a heavy leash tied to a tree in the middle of the backyard without, adequate shelter or possibly even not adequate food or water.
Harriet Taylor of Gainesville started the online petition.
Governor Nathan Deal today announced that a new plant coming to the Carrollton area is expected to hire 200 people. Brian King is with the Carrollton Chamber of Commerce.
Yachio of America. Tier 1 supplier to the automotive industry, namely folks like Honda.
According to the governor's office, the new 130,000 square foot facility will allow the company to make the hires within 3 years. It's a $30 million investment. How much longer will the partial government shutdown last? North Georgia Congressman Doug Collins says he can't predict how many days, but he does feel that the Democrats and Republicans can at least come to a short-term agreement to get the government running again.
And that means we don't everything get what we want, but best we can, we try to push forward our proposals to come to an agreement.
Still, the Gainesville Republican pointed the finger of blame at the Obama administration, saying that the White House is purposely making a budget agreement difficult. Collins was a guest this morning on WDUN's Morning Talk. A Georgia DMV site in Roswell got 10,000 complaints in one fell swoop today. A gay married couple delivered a petition with signatures, thousands, in support of the couple's married name being put on their license. Shakira Tucker says it came as a result of the DMV having changed one of their licenses but denied the other.
I got a letter from the DMV, and it said we had to surrender my wife's license to them with our married name on it, or they would suspend her license.
The couple were legally married in Massachusetts. Same-sex marriage is not legal in Georgia. There's more WDUN news at accessnorthga.com. Now here's the WDUN AccuWeather forecast.
Mainly clear for tonight, low of 45 to 54. Plenty of sunshine, a pleasant day on Friday. High of 73 to 80. Clear again for your Friday night. low 46 to 52. Or AccuWeather.com. I'm Jason Lord.
It's 69 in Flowery Branch in Cleveland, 67 and 70 in Gainesville. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
So glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Oh, barf.
What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out! Look out! Oh, my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay?
My arm. I think it's broken.
Can you bend it?
It's already bent in the wrong direction.
I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
This is North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN. The following is a special edition of WDUN's Game On.
This girl is on fire.
It's the Game On Coaches Show, featuring interviews and insights into area high school football through the eyes of a local coach. Live from Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville, it's WDUN's Katie B. Davis. Game on, Katie B. Game on.
What a beautiful Thursday to be hosting the Game On Coaches Show live from Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville. Can you, Coach Tony Lottie, believe this crowd? Unbelievable.
Say, what a great turnout, huh?
What an incredible turnout. You all can hear it if you're tuned in on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Our featured guest, as I just said, West Hall coach Tony Lottie. We've got great West Hall spirit wear as giveaways for those brave enough to go see Chris Biddy and Carolina playing Plinko over there. The shirts, my hat that I'm wearing, the socks, the stickers, care of our friends at Hobbs Sporting Goods. They have a lot more where that came from for every school in Hall County, so make sure you go see Nate and Jason in the Thompson Court Shopping Center on Thompson Bridge Road in Gainesville. They will hook you up. They're actually here, so go bother them for some gear if you want to at Buffalo Wild Wings as well. Folks, 10% of your tab tonight from now until 8 o'clock, including to-go orders for those of you out there driving around, will be given back to West Hall. So enjoy yourself some of B-Dub's incredible grub and support a local school while you're at it. To say that my guest, you, sir, the man I'm looking at, West Hall coach Tony Lottie, is a Renaissance man, I think is actually limiting you. You run a nonprofit that we'll tell the audience about coming up. You're a special education teacher, a devout family man, and the author of 2 books. More than any of that, however, you carry your father's name, Anthony Frank Lottie Jr. In order to have a heart for service, I'm a firm believer that you not only have a heart for service, but that you have to be raised right to have a heart for service. Tell us about your parents, Coach Lottie, and how you were raised.
Sure. I was extremely blessed. I had 2 great parents, very loving, very supportive. Everything that I've done growing up, they were there. And, you know, you can't say enough about that and how fortunate that I was, because not everybody's that blessed. You know, my dad told me one time when I was young, and I've shared this with my players, that really you have 3 names in this world. And that's the first one is the one you inherit, and the second one is the one that your parents give you, and the third one is the one that you make for yourself. And one of the things that's been very important for me is, you know, the name, the family name, and just to try my best to bring honor and dignity to that name.
What about them led you to a life of service? What did they instill in you that not just made you want to become a coach, but it takes a special person to be a special education teacher. It takes a special person to run a nonprofit for disabled children and special needs children. What about your parents instilled that in you?
Well, you know, from very early on, it was really pretty simple. It was a golden rule, and that was to treat other people the way you'd like to be treated. And it's really that simple, to be honest with you. You know, my mom, she's sitting here listening to this right now at home, so I got to say hey to my mom. And I love you, Mom. I'm thinking about you. And, I lost my dad about 12 years ago, and every day, especially on the sidelines, it's hard because I know he'd be there. But, my parents were just very supportive. They were one that encouraged you to take risks, have life goals, and then work to do that. But at the same time, to make sure that I understood the value of the greatest thing in this world, and that's people.
Yeah.
And, trying to do your best for other people. And I was just raised that if you sincerely love people, they'll love you back. And I've been fortunate to be able to experience that.
Now, I want the audience to know, whether it's the audience here at Buffalo Wild Wings or the one out there listening on WDUN, that we're not going to go in chronological order here, because football, while a vehicle for Coach Tony Lottie, is far from being his life. So we'll get to your accomplishments in college and thereafter coming up. But I want you to tell our listening audience, I want you to tell the folks out here at Buffalo Wild Wings who might not know, what is the FHL Flag Football League, and why did you start it?
Well, it's actually what got me into being a special education teacher, where I was coaching at Union Grove High School, and I was a full-time varsity coach. And two of the managers on our football team took classes in special education. And to be honest with you, is after we were playing second round of the playoffs, and we had won, and you know how the atmosphere is for that in the playoffs, and the band's playing, everybody's excited. And as we're walking across the field, I just noticed one of them. I said, "Hey, what's wrong? Why aren't you excited?" And he just looked at me and said, "Coach, I wish I could play."
Oh.
And so that just kind of sat with me, and it kind of, as the off season went on, it still nagged at me. And I'm a big believer that I think if you ask God to use you to help other people, that he'll whisper in your ear. And so I set out to try to see if I could set up an opportunity where children who do not currently have the opportunity to play in an organized football program and cheerleading program, that we could create that. And so started out as a pilot program, and it's kind of grown from there. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to catch a flight Saturday morning to Philadelphia because it's grown up in Pennsylvania as well. And so kids are playing up there, and my hope is that we can continue to grow it everywhere. And it's real simple, that I feel like the sport of football gives a lot of life lessons and teaches a lot of character type things to student athletes as they're growing up. And despite your ability level, I think the thing that probably frustrated me the most was I kept hearing, well, you can't do that with these kids.
Yeah.
And so what really bothered me was, well, how do you know? Nobody's ever done it before. And the kids wanted to play. And when I first started the league, what we did was we wasn't going to keep score. And the kids just got mad at me. Said, "Coach, we have to keep score. Right. It's got to be a winner loser." And then they've taught me a lot of lessons, to be honest with you, because they're right. In life, there's winners and there's losers, and you learn from those experiences, and that's what helps you become successful. So kind of set off from there, and my goal is to bring it to Hall County. I'm hoping to be able to start a team at West Hall during this off season, and hopefully some of the other programs in Hall County, and we can get the league spreading here to give these kids the opportunity as well.
Competitiveness knows no bounds. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to feel appreciative today, I want you to go to FHLfootball.org. That's going to do it for you. The pictures are amazing. And you'll also find out how you can get involved with this organization that Coach Tony Lottie started. Coaches are influenced by people, whether it's teachers, other coaches, whether it's their parents, to make the sport they love a lifestyle and to therefore influence others. I'm going in a different direction than we've gone with any other coach that's been on this stage with me, because I want you to tell us about Eddie Gadsden.
Whoa. Eddie is see, you caught me off guard with that one. Unfortunately, and I'm trying to think of the right way to say this, is any coach who loses a player, you never recover from it. And it's one of those things that sitting here now, as soon as you said his name, I'm instantly, bringing back memories of pregame meals and just you name it, the type of kid he was. And to this day, the button, his button's over the visor of my car from when I spoke at his funeral. And I'm close with his dad and his mom. Matter of fact, our Banks County game at home, his dad surprised me and drove up for the game. And so at halftime, I happened to see him. And so that's special to me. It's something that, as a parent, and I try to treat all my players like they're my own. And that's what I tell my staff is that's how I expect you to treat them, as if they're your own. And unfortunately, when you lose one, that's not supposed to happen that way. You're not supposed to outlive your kids. And I miss him every day. I can still see his smile. He's a kid that ended up getting the opportunity to play 1 year in college on a scholarship before. He was actually home training with us. And I'll never forget it. I was out there, and he was a punt returner, and we were working some drills during the summer before he went back to college. And the last thing he said to me was, Coach, I'll see you tomorrow. I was kind of picking at him. He'd kind of gotten a little heavy during the offseason. I was like, hey, look, now you got to represent.
Yeah.
And I just remember, hey, I love you, Coach. Love you, too. Be careful. He said, all right, Coach, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there was no tomorrow. And that moment for me, even now with these kids, I find myself, instead of just saying, all right, be careful. No, listen to me. Wear your seatbelt. Slow down. Make sure, those types of things. And, to this day, I'll never forget him. I can still hear his laugh. He was the type kid now where he didn't want to come off the field. We're playing Washington Wilkes in the second round playoffs, and he did not want to come off the field. Well, I was worried about him cramping, because when you never come off and we're never getting fluids back in you, I was worried about cramping. So I just remember, I'd make him come out, but he'd get mad at me now. He would give me the look, that kind of stuff. And I told him, I said, I've got to get water in you. You're going to cramp, and then you're not going to be good to us. He just would get mad at me if I took him out of the game. So I remember the next pregame meal, we're sitting there, and you know how you can feel when somebody's just looking at you?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and usually sitting in there with the kids at pregame meal, and something just told me, and I looked up, and he's staring right at me. And then he just looks at me, he reaches under the table, and he picks up a big milk jug, water, a gallon of water, and sets it on the table and just looks at me and smiles. As if to say, all right, Coach, I'm going to drink your water, but don't you take me out of that game tonight. So, but anyway, it's I miss him. I love his parents, and he's in my thoughts every day and everything I do.
Well, I tell you, I really appreciate you sharing those memories with us, and clearly not just the quality of the person that Eddie was, but his passing has influenced you a great deal as a coach, and I know led you to bigger and better things. And we're going to get to those bigger and better things when we come back to the Game On Coaches show from Buffalo Wild Wings. Coach Tony Lottie, an All-American football player, folks, and an author. Quite the combination. And he's going to tell you all about it when we come back on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
From the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom, Governor Deal's office says Georgia is unlikely to use state funding to reopen national parks during the federal shutdown. Details at accessnorthga.com and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Don't pitch those old golf clubs. Don't give away that catcher's mitt. Trade them in and upgrade to sports equipment that you can use. Play It Again Sports takes great pride in having served the Gainesville community for more than 20 years. At Play It Again Sports, you trade in your outgrown sports gear and equipment and use that credit to save on what you need. From baseball gloves to footballs, hockey sticks to treadmills, you won't believe the selection. Play It Again Sports is always in season. Come visit Play It Again Sports on Dawsonville Highway between Home Depot and the Olive Garden.
It was on this day in 1987, Tom McLean finished rowing across the Atlantic Ocean.
Why?
I have no idea. It set the record at 54 days and 18 hours.
Wow.
And, of course, we are to savings what Tom is to biceps. Here at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet in Duluth and in Beaufort near the Mall of Georgia, here's Rick Hendricks, Jamie Anderson.
So listen up. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, come see us here at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet. We are the #1 Chevy dealer in the Southeast. Best selection of new vehicles with over 1,500 on the ground for you to choose from. Take up to $2,000 off 2013 Tahoes and Suburbans. Check out the 2013 Camaros starting at just $21,999. And we had a customer come in from Jonesboro, 556 credit score. We got them 6.9%.
So what are you waiting for? Because, we can get you financed faster than you can row across the Atlantic. Call 888-48-CHEVY. Find new roads at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet.
If you buy a Chevy anywhere else.
You paid too much.
Rick Hendricks Chevrolet.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right. General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these specials. A 14 by 21 foot shop for under $6,000 or a 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's $5,000 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 800-98-STEEL. You must act now. Call 800-98-STEEL. That's 800-987-8335.
Get in the game with the Friday Game Night section on accessnorthga.com. It's the latest prep football coverage, including video highlights, interviews, and previews. So log on to Friday Game Night, presented by Burger King and North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Welcome back, folks, to the Game on Coaches show, live from Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville on quite a beautiful night as we sit out here on a porch, talk a little football, get a little background info on our featured guest, West Hall coach Tony Lottie. I got to tell you, we have a competition of sorts, even though I don't tell anybody it's a competition week in and week out.
We're in then. We're in if it's a competition.
Exactly. As to who can bring the best crowd. Hands down, Spartan Nation.
We got them inside, too, now. They wouldn't let them come out here, so.
Hands down, Spartan Nation, the best crowd we've had. We had the managers at Buffalo Wild Wings having to bring extra tables out here to the porch. And you just heard Tony Lottie say it, a good portion of people are inside. So wonderful that you all are out here supporting not just your coach, but your school, as 10% of food sales from now until 8 o'clock will be returned to West Hall High School. Just a fun thing that we're doing, and we're glad you're out here enjoying it. A Division II All-American for Tennessee Wesleyan College. First team All-Mid-South Conference. Does this sound familiar? Do you know anybody who this has happened to? Brought into training camp with the New England Patriots in 1990.
Now you're telling people how old I am.
That's all right. No, people stop listening at New England Patriots. They're like, that's awesome. Brought into training camp with the New England Patriots in 1990. I've got to know, what was that experience like?
Well, it was intimidating. Like you said, I was at a Division II school, and to go into an NFL training camp, it was intimidating at first. I mean, I was probably – and I grew up a New England Patriots fan. See, all my family's in Boston, so it was a big deal when I got the phone call to report up there. So it was intimidating. The food is probably the thing I was most impressed with. Anything you want. I mean, there's a Jell-O bar. If it was a color, it was a Jell-O. So it was a great experience that I was very fortunate to at least be able to have.
Now, after that experience came two things that are sort of anomalies for coaches in any regard, unless you're a pro football coach who's won a Super Bowl and then your book comes out the week after you win it. I never get how they write them so fast, but they do. After reading one, though, I'll tell you, they just sit down in a room with somebody and start talking and the person's writing, and it's grammatically horrific. Alas, we won't get into that. Why, after the experience with the New England Patriots, did you feel the need to write the book Fourth Down and Long?
Well, first of all, it was a life goal. I talked about with my parents, we had life goals. I had life goals, things I wanted just to see, could I do it? And I can assure you, when that book came out, there was probably a lot of teachers at Morrow High School that said, he did what? Kind of thing. I was by no means a stellar A student. But it was one of those things I wanted to see if I could do it. And what most people don't know is I kept it a secret. So not even my wife, nobody knew, and it took me several years to write it. It was most of the times, coaches and whatnot, we don't sleep at night, so I would knock out a chapter here or there. And I just wanted to see if I could do it. And when I lost my dad suddenly, it was one of those things for me. I wanted to give my three children something that if something happened to me, to be honest with you, they could have something they could always keep.
Yeah.
And so I first went out to try to see about it. I was just going to print 3 copies, one for each one of my kids, and that was going to cost a fortune. So I ended up running up the flagpole, so that, as they say, and it became published, and then went out from there. So, but the main reason was, first of all, to see if I could do it, and then it's really more about sticking to it, what happened after I got back from the Patriots.
Right.
I mean, I ended up taking a job working at a Waffle House, and so what I hoped to do too was remove a lot of the stereotypes that maybe people had about a Waffle House, and because I learned a lot of valuable life lessons there. And it was great people, but anyway, and just to kind of keep going.
Yeah.
You're going to have peaks and valleys, and you hold on through the bad times and try to excel through the good ones. So that was really the main reason with the first one. It just kind of happened. I can tell you this. One of the things that surprised me the most was because I I typed every word of it. Like you said, sometimes they'll speak and somebody else will write it. Well, I wrote it, but when it first came back from the editor, it was professionally edited from the publisher. And I looked at it and thought, oh, my gosh, you would think I never even had an English course by how many, corrections I need to look at.
Little red marks,
so, the little red marks. But it's been great.
Give us a quick rundown, if you will, about what Fourth Down and Long is about.
It's basically, it's an autobiography that talks about the dreams of a kid who pretty much, I ran the 40-yard dash probably in 5.2 if that was a good day. So, to have lofty goals of wanting my high school to be proud of me and make it to college and All-American and get to an NFL camp, people would have laughed. So, but what ended up happening is I found my niche. I played quarterback growing up and punted and then really concentrated on it my senior year of high school and then through college. And so guess what? All I needed was 25 seconds to run out there, so it didn't matter how fast I ran the 40.
Right, absolutely. And speaking of making your high school proud of you, your area proud of you, the state of Georgia has named a day, Tony Lottie Day. So that's making somebody pretty proud, right? How did that feel?
Well, even still, I'm just a very fortunate person. I'm very blessed. Like I said, the people who God's put in my life is the reason.
Yeah.
I've just been fortunate enough that that I've gotten some recognition for it when really it was the people, my brothers and my mom and my dad and my family, and then people, my extended family, that really is why. So I'm fortunate.
Member of the Tennessee Wesleyan College Hall of Fame is Coach Tony Lottie. And after Fourth Down and Long, wrote another book called A Break in the Rain. You can find both of them on Amazon.com. We are going to plug that for you, Coach Lottie, even though you're not here for personal reasons like that. You can also go log on to any of the websites of the booksellers across the nation and find those two books written by our very own Coach Tony Lottie. Now, we've got about 2 minutes left here, a little less than 2 minutes, and you spoke to me off air about something, and I want you to address it on air. You wanted to get out of coaching after Eddie Gadsden died. What kept you from doing it?
It was a little boy with Down syndrome, and I like I said, with what happened with Eddie, I felt like I get too attached to these kids. And I felt like, well, maybe I need to get out of coaching. And I did. And I was seriously considering getting out. Well, that's kind of how the FHL began. Because with that whole comment after the game, Coach, I wish I could play. And Michael, and then it just kept saying to me when I'd see him, no, Coach, you got to coach me. And so it kind of, next thing I knew, I was learning life lessons from them as I was trying to start that league, and it just kind of went from there. And that's really what the second book's about. To be honest with you, I had no desire to write a second book. After what I went through on the first one, I didn't want no part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I marked the goal off. Let's move on.
Right.
But it tells a story, and, the subtitle is A Boy is Coach and a Special Wish. And it's really, what I hope it does is remove the stereotype labels. And we need to look at abilities and start focusing, let an individual person dictate how far they can go instead of us trying to dictate their limitations or what they can and can't do. And that's how the second book is. It's more about a coach who learns lessons and being there for somebody else. And there's a part in the book, and which is where Eddie comes in. There's a part in the book that basically the coach steps in to help the little boy out, which you expect. But what you don't see coming is what the little boy does for the coach when he has the tragedy of losing a player. So.
Such an unbelievable story, and we hadn't even gotten to the best part, and that's West Hall football. When we come back, we're going to talk about this year's team. We're going to talk about the improvement from last year to this year. Last year, year one under you. This year, year two under you. And the improvement has been nothing short of dramatic. We're having a lot of fun here at Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway. Come back and join us on WDUN.
This is Georgia Community Affairs Commissioner Mike Beatty. If you become unemployed or even underemployed by no fault of your own and are at risk of losing your home, you may well qualify for temporary mortgage assistance under the Home Safe Georgia program. This is a very real assistance program, perhaps one ideally suited for situations just like yours. To find out more, click homesafegeorgia.com. That's homesafegeorgia.com, and it could be the help you need right now.
Okay, it's time to switch banks. I'm looking for a bank that will appreciate my business every day and not just the day I open my account.
Sound familiar? United Community Bank believes it's a privilege to serve each customer. Give us the opportunity to serve you, and we'll make sure switching banks is as easy as possible. And best of all, next week, next month, and next year, you'll feel as appreciated as the first day you walked in our doors. United Community Bank, the bank that's service-built.
This week on Friday Game Night, AM 550 presents Beaufort hosting White County. On FM 102.9, Jefferson hosts Rabun County. And on 1240 ESPN Radio, it's Gainesville hosting Salem. Listen on air or online at accessnorthga.com or via our free app, Access WDUN. Presented by the Norton Agency. WDUN Gainesville. WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville.
It's 7:30.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lisa Lacera. House Republicans sitting down tonight with President Obama as they try to strike a deal on the debt limit and to end the government shutdown.
Our teams are going to be talking further tonight. We'll have more discussion. We'll come back to have more discussion. The president said that he would go and consult with the administration folks.
House Republican leader Eric Cantor.
I've talked to several House Republican leadership aides who say that the meeting was constructive. It was a useful meeting this evening at the White House. The president did not say yes or no to the House Republicans' offer, and they insist that conversations will continue throughout the course of this evening. And so while the initial bulletins coming out may have said that the initial offer from the House Republicans was rejected, they insist the conversations are continuing throughout this evening, trying to hammer out a deal.
Fox's Mike Emanuel at the Capitol. This is a Fox News Alert.
Local and live. This is WDUN News.
Good evening from the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom. I'm Allison Shields. Governor Nathan Deal's office says Georgia is unlikely to use state funding to reopen national parks during the partial federal government shutdown. The Obama administration said today that it would allow states to use their own money to reopen national parks that have been closed. A Deal spokesman says that Georgia is not able to cover the cost of keeping the national parks in Georgia open. As some residents lobby the Hall County Commission for an anti-tethering ordinance for dogs, the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia confirms it's in support of such a measure. Humane Society Executive Director David Arias says his family has pets and understands any concerns.
We wanted to make sure, just like I think a lot of folks would want the assurance that this wouldn't relate to that kind of a short-term, casual, putting our dog on a leash for a period of time, or to give him some time for a few hours outside.
An online petition for the anti-tethering measure states the spirit of the law is to prevent long-term ongoing chaining and tethering of dogs. The city of Gainesville already has a similar ordinance, according to Arias. Police in the Auburn area say they're on the lookout for a 50-year-old woman who has been missing since Saturday. Authorities say Elizabeth Jenkins Burnham, who goes by Betty, has a life-threatening medical condition that leaves her confused and disoriented. Burnham is white, 5'9", and weighs about 180 pounds. There's more WDUN news at accessnorthga.com. Now here's the WDUN AccuWeather forecast.
Mainly clear for tonight, low of 45 to 54. Plenty of sunshine, a pleasant day on Friday. High of 73 to 80. Clear again for your Friday night, low of 46 to 52. For AccuWeather.com, I'm Jason Lord.
It's 65 in both Beaufort and Cornelia, and it's 68 in Gainesville. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9, WDUN.
So glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Ugh, barf. What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out, look out!
Oh, my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay?
My arm. I think it's broken.
Can you bend it?
It's already bent.
in the wrong direction. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
This is North Georgia's News Talk.
WDUN.
Want to give a special thanks to our friends at Hobbs Sporting Goods for providing today's West Hall giveaways. Hobbs located in the top, they deserve some love. Come on. Hobbs Sporting Goods located in the Thompson Court Shopping Center on Thompson Bridge Road. From hats to shirts to socks to cups to bumper stickers, they have everything you need to show your support for the school you attend and or just love. Jason and Nate are the men in charge, so stop by and tell them hello. We're going to throw down the gauntlet for someone associated with West Hall High School here in about 15 minutes. His name is Ben Williams. He is the school resource officer at West Hall High School.
Correct.
And he is going to take the Hot Wing Challenge here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Now, here's the deal for all of you out there listening. If you're not able to see it here at Buffalo Wild Wings, we have a packed house, so you're probably not going to be able to. We're going to film it. Our very own Chris Biddy is going to film Ben Williams taking the Hot Wing Challenge. We're going to post it on our Facebook page, Game On with Katie B. Davis. He's going to be wearing a West Hall Spartans helmet, and he's going to be sweating through it because they are hot. So, folks, that's going to happen in our last segment. We're going to tell you if he can, in fact, eat the hot wings in the 6 minutes allotted. But more importantly, we're going to film it so that he will be absolutely humiliated, at least for the next couple of days. Before we continue our conversation with Coach Tony Lottie, let's give a lucky listener some killer tickets to the Petite Le Mans. How about it? Brian Perkle back at the studio. He's my producer extraordinaire for Game On. He is standing by, waiting to take your call. We want the sixth caller into 770-535-2911. We're going to give you 2 super tickets, and that is actually what they're called. They are called super tickets to October 18th at Road Atlanta, the Petite Le Mans. Again, 6th caller into 770-535-2911. These tickets about $40 a piece. They're beautiful and glossy. You're going to have a lot of fun if you get to go. So, folks, how about blowing up our phone lines back at the WDUN studio? Brian, just trillion me the winner, buddy, and we'll tell them about it on air. This year's Spartans 4-1, 2-1 in Region 7 AAA play. And as is evidenced by the incredible turnout tonight, I can't stress that enough. The excitement is back at West Hall High School. And not just the school, but the community as a whole. Tell us about being the coach at West Hall. Tell us about the community you serve.
Well, I'm extremely blessed. So I've got a good little run here being a blessed person because I knew this is, I felt it in my heart. I knew this is where I felt like I was supposed to be. And the people here are just phenomenal. You know, as I look out in the crowd, there's faculty here. There's players, there's coaching staff and their families and community members and my administration. You just can, I mean, that's the type of people they are. And I'm just very blessed to say I'm a Spartan and that I represent these folks because I tell you what, they're the best.
I look to my left and I see Antonio Pittman, one of your running backs. I see Hunter Atkinson. You call him a tight end. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in this area. You can call him a tight end if you want to. We've got Zach English in the house, am I correct, and his family. But I also look down the middle here, and I see Principal Greg Williams. Other guys want shout-outs back there.
Yeah, that's our offensive line. Hey! State, number 2, number 4.
Absolutely.
I mean, all the guys are here pretty much.
All the guys are here. I love hearing it. We got your athletic director, Scott Justice, in the house. And then we've got the man who's going to be sweating here in about 12 minutes.
our school resource officer.
We got the SRO, Mr. Ben Williams, in the house as well. The excitement because of the big improvement, yes. But even if you all weren't 4-2, the way that you're playing, if you were 0-6, right, the way that you're playing is incredible. How did you get your guys from what they were last year to what they are this year?
Well, I'm very open and very honest with my guys on everything. And I feel like the number one thing we have to have is that trust. And things that I outlined for them when I got here about what it was going to take to turn our program in the right direction. And I was very open and honest with our parents and our community. And the guys, it's one of those things you have to learn hard lessons sometimes. But the thing was, I felt like we both trusted each other, and we're building off of that, learning how to rebound, which we're going to learn that coming up next week, hopefully. And we've seen a lot of different things. Even this year, we've had to deal with adversity with one of our players, and we're gonna stick together, and we're gonna help him through that, because that's what we do now. And so we had a heartbreaking loss, and we've beaten some people, and then we were, didn't do so well last week, but we're resilient. And we're going to work, and we're trusting in the process. One of my coaches, Coach Raddick, we talk about trust the training. And these guys worked hard in the off season. It's like I told them, I said, nobody's going to hand you anything.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, you're going to continue to play in more homecomings than probably any other program. And we just used a lot of different things together to try to get us playing faster and get us committed. But the bottom line's been, I feel like they bought in. And in this community. And I told them when I got here that the two key ingredients, when you look at any successful program, and you can look at the North Halls, you can look at any successful program, to me the two key ingredients, number one is senior leadership, and number two is parent and community involvement and support. And that's where our focus has been. And our seniors this year, there's not many of them, there's 10 of them. But they are quality leaders, and they learned from lessons last year, and they're seeing a little different light now, I think.
Clearly your community's bought in. Clearly your players and their parents have bought in.
Good bunch of people.
To your leadership. You talk about the adversity faced, and obviously the heartbreaking loss you alluded to was the 14-13 loss to Chestatee, and we all know what happened there. It's been talked about ad nauseum by most specifically me. I apologize for that, but it's my job, Coach Lottie. I'm sorry. But I want you to tell our listening audience about the young man you were talking about and the health issues he's facing, and really how your team has rallied around him and rallied together.
Well, what I feel like we're building a family, and it's not just the players. It's with their parents and our community, and families stick together. And unfortunately, sometimes life gives you cards that are not pleasant. And what happened was we were as a practice, and I'll try to make long story short for you, but we're at practice. He went down with an injury, or at least that's what I thought, but something just was telling me different. So to err on side of caution, we called for an ambulance, went down there, and as it turns out, they found something totally not related to football. However, it was something that was extremely significant that he needs care. And so we're looking at it as it was a blessing that, we found it.
Yeah.
And we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it together. And he is, it's like I told him. I said, look, even though you're not putting the helmet on and the shoulder pad, you still are a very valuable member of this football team. Your role's changed. And I talk a lot with the guys about the importance of knowing your role, embracing your role, and doing the best you can with your role. And so that's what I told him. I said, look, your role's just changed. That's all. You're no more or less a member of our family, but your role has changed. And so now, and he's embracing that role, and we're going to take each day as they come, and we're going to work through it together, and we'll be there for each other.
Embracing it is an understatement. I've seen him on your sideline at the Banks County game, and he was rallying the troops about as hard as you and your coaching staff were, and it was an impressive thing to see. And by the way, you mentioned that Eddie Gadsden's father came to that Banks County game. Yeah. What a whale of a game for him to see the West Hall Spartans play. I'll tell you that right now. We want to congratulate our winner of the 2 tickets to the Petite Le Mans on October 18th at Road Atlanta. He happens to be in the house.
Oh, sweet.
Are you back there raising the roof? That's Blaine Satterfield, folks. He is the winner of the 2 tickets to the Petite Le Mans. That's fantastic. I'm glad you were listening so closely to the show and dialed us up so quickly, Blaine. Congratulations for being the 6th caller. Obviously, we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate you calling in to the show. Enjoy the Petite Le Mans. When you look at this program this year, and obviously, let's not joke around. Coach Lottie, Buford's just a whole other worldly. We don't even know where to put them. You can't even.
I can tell you this: they're very good.
They are very good. You can't even really calling them a high school team, I think, is just not even fair. So let's look ahead to the rest of the season. You come up after this bye week, and you've got an East Hall team. that is reeling after they're 0-3 in the region. They're the best 0-3 region team I've seen in my life. So let's look ahead to the season. I want you to talk about your team in the context of the rest of the region foes that you're going to have to face. How do you see things playing out, and what do you hope you see from your guys?
Well, first of all, we're going to go into each one of them one at a time and really not change anything that we do. And when I say that, I mean we're measuring. They know I expect the effort and the attitude. And, I've told them over and over, because when I first got here and had conversations with, with some of the kids and, what do you feel like could be a good season for you? And to be honest, some of the responses that I got, were kind of frustrating a little bit, as to what they measured or what they thought in their mind success was. And so one of the things we talk about is, look, you don't want to coulda, woulda, shoulda, all right? And we talk about that a lot, that all you can do is your best effort. And then you let the chips fall where they may. Hey, team last week's just flat out better. I'll be honest with you, I've coached a long time. It's the best football team I've ever seen.
And you are the only person
I've coached against Lowndes. I've coached in their heydays. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, that's an extremely good football team. But that's one of the things we talk about. So you know what? When we look in our mirror, and that's what we talk about, we don't look at the scoreboard. We're going to look at the mirror at the end of the night. Hey, did you give everything you could for this program and our family? And if you did, then we look and say, and I'm just a big believer in do right and right follows. So that's what we try to focus on. Everything we do, just trying to do the right thing.
Region 7 AAA, in my mind, not just one of the toughest regions in North Georgia, but one of the toughest regions across the state when you go top to bottom.
Sure.
And we're talking Buford, North Hall, obviously, but the East Halls, who are 0-3. Dawson County, unbelievable. White County, unbelievable. When you think about the competition in Region 7 AAA and you compare what you were able to do last year to what you have done so far and what I think you're going to do, which is be quite successful, what kind of confidence does that give you, with it being your second year at West Hall, that even bigger things are ahead?
Well, I've told players in my career, the hardest thing for me about coaching is not the X's and O's. It's convincing 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that they can be as great as you see them to be.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, when I first got here, I said, I see you differently than you see yourself or you see each other. I don't know. It's just how I'm wired. And I told them that, and I said, we're going to stick to the process. And, the teams you mentioned are extremely good. And one of the things that we talk about is what we're going to have to do to compete at that level. East Hall, Coach Gray, I think the world of Coach Gray.
Yeah.
He called me when I first took this job and welcomed me to Hall County, and he and I have had a friendship since. And, last year's game went overtime, and we were on the short end of that. And he's done a great job over there with putting those kids in a very good situation to be successful. They're going to throw it a lot. They're very athletic. This is a very big and important game for us as a program and as a team to go out there and compete next Friday.
The athletes in Region 7 AAA, some of the best we've seen. Devin Watson, a quarterback you're going to face next week, one
very
of them.
Talented.
But dadgummit, Coach Lottie, you've got a few on your team that are pretty darn good athletes, too. And, we're talking about Quan Williams, and we're even going to Cameron Millsap and Ty Statham and Hunter Atkinson and the bevy of running backs, bevy of wide receivers. Your quarterback's amazing. Zach English Way can run the ball the way he can throw the ball. You've got an athletic offensive line, athletic defensive line. West Hall, just an impressive team to watch thus far this season. I have no doubt you're just going to get better. Do you think that this open week, this bye week, came at a good time for your team, and why?
Oh, it came at a great time. To give us a week off after last Friday's game, to refocus, to heal up a little bit, and to do those things that you really need at this point of the year. You mentioned Zach, and I'm going to talk about him for a quick second. If you look at last year in the play, the kids that I got they're competitors, and Zach's a competitor. And when you have a competitor, sometimes they maybe force things or try to do too much.
Right.
And so when we sat down during the off season and really worked with him, and Coach Wiggs has done a great job with him, that on how to manage the team, and that we feel like we have plenty of people around him that we're going to distribute the ball to. And he's done a good job of that. I think, he threw his first interception last week. I think he's got 8 touchdowns and 1 pick up until this. So the maturity level is what I have been gauging with my guys. We've matured a lot since I got here, and they put in a lot of work since I got here, and I'm proud of them for that. And our goals and dreams are still out there, and we're gonna work our tail off to get to those dreams and goals. And hopefully, to be honest with you, I have a thing with the kids. When we first got here, it's an ITYS. And we talked about my very first day here about that, and we're working towards that, being able to say that.
ITYS.
Don't ask me now.
All right, we'll see what that is when we come back to the Game On Coaches show, live from Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville. We're going to slap a helmet on Ben Williams. We're going to slap him around with some hot wings. We're going to film it all. We might even laugh at him a little bit. Watch him cry, watch him sweat. But more than anything, we're going to wrap it up here and have a lot of fun doing so on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
From the WDUN Milton Martin Honda 24-hour newsroom, the Humane Society of Northeast Georgia supports an online petition for an anti-tethering ordinance in Hall County. Details at accessnorthga.com and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Dick's Sporting Goods is now open in Gainesville at the Lakeshore Mall. Check out top brands like Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, The North Face, and TaylorMade. Plus, check out great deals like Nike men's layup or women's tempo track shorts, just $21.98. Callaway HX Diablo Tour golf balls are 2 for $35. Buy 2, get 1 free on all fishing lures. And Duck Commander hoodies are 2 for $40. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Expect more from your sporting goods store. Every season starts at Dick's.
It was on this day in 1987, Tom McLean finished rowing across the Atlantic Ocean.
Why?
I have no idea. It set the record at 54 days and 18 hours.
Wow.
And, of course, we are to savings what Tom is to biceps. Here at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet in Duluth and in Beaufort near the Mall of Georgia, here's Rick Hendricks, Jamie Anderson.
So listen up. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, come see us here at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet. We are the #1 Chevy dealer in the Southeast. Best selection of new vehicles with over 1,500 on the ground for you to choose from. Take up to $2,000 off 2013 Tahoes and Suburbans. Check out the 2013 Camaros starting at just $21,999. And we had a customer come in from Jonesboro, 556 credit score. We got them 6.9%.
So what are you waiting for? Because, we can get you financed faster than you can row across the Atlantic. Call 888-48-CHEVY. Find new roads at Rick Hendricks Chevrolet.
If you buy a Chevy anywhere else.
You paid too much.
Rick Hendricks Chevrolet.
North Georgia's News Talk and home of Georgia Southern football.
Rid of it quickly, picked off J.J. Wilcox, far sideline. Put an Eagle 6 on it. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
All right, friends and friends alike, we're back at Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville. Ben Williams, the school resource officer at West Hall, is about to put on the helmet and take on the wing challenge here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Them suckers are hot. We wish him the best of luck. We'll let you know when he officially gets started. Don't forget, we will be filming this little exercise, and it'll be on our Facebook page, Game On with KDB Davis. Now, I had a request from Coach Tony Lottie to be able to talk a little bit about the SRO, Ben Williams. So say what you want to say, sir.
How about that, though? Hall County Sheriff's Department. He is a West Hall Spartan. He is in that school, and he's every bit of everything we're doing there. And when I brought this up, I said, hey, look, this is, and he said, Coach, I'm in.
Yeah.
And, I think I showed you a little video we showed the student body. That's the other thing, our student body. But this guy right here steps up. So, hey, you got other shows you're going to be doing in future weeks, right?
Yes.
I'm putting my guy up against anybody out there. My SRO now, he steps up to the plate. Here he is. So I'm proud of him, and more importantly, we're blessed to have him at West Hall High School.
That's fantastic. The challenge has been thrown to Lakeview, to Riverside, to the schools out there that are in the coming weeks on the Game On Coaches show also to wrap up the regular season. We might even bring West Hall back because, dadgum, this has been fun. Unbelievable, the crowd that has shown up, the attitude that they've shown up with. It's just impressive to see this kind of excitement I'd like to say surrounding you, but I really think they came
He's the man, man. I'm telling you.
I think they came to see this challenge. Coach, listen, let's move on from football here before he gets his wings and before we see what happens there. As an author, as a pretty intelligent guy, who's your favorite author?
Oh, wow.
Boom, put you on the spot.
God,
yeah, I did. Yeah,
I'm going to have to start making you give me a list of questions
Can't
before
do it.
we go on.
Won't do it.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Kim Blanchard, I've read a lot of his stuff. What'd they say, Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss.
Wow.
Hey, I'm a big Berenstain Bear fan. It's cool. That's cool.
So, my reading, I read a lot of motivational stuff and leadership books and things like that. And so any time a successful coach puts something out there, then, here comes the siren. So the wings are apparently on the way.
We do. Folks out there listening on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN, we've got a man in a fire suit bringing the wings to Ben Williams. They've got the siren going, the light flashing. The challenge is about to happen. I got to ask if y'all could clear out the way, let my man Chris Biddy come up. There he is. Never mind. We're going to film this, folks. We got to get a good viewing of it to put on the Facebook page, Game On with KDB Davis. Before he gets started, you talked about leadership. When you think about leadership, and the upper echelon of leaders, the epitome of a leader, who is the first person that comes to mind and why?
My mom and dad.
Really?
Yes, my mom and dad, because, they see the good and the bad, but they see the potential. And I tell the guys all the time, I think probably the worst word a coach could use is potential.
Right.
But my mom and dad, no doubt, they set the tone for our family. They set the tone for expectations, but they also put a support system in there. And I try very hard. I just want my mom, I just want them to be proud. That's all. It's that simple.
Now, you mentioned your mother earlier in this broadcast. I want you to give us her name.
Fran Lottie.
Fran
yeah,
Lottie.
And she's listening. She's probably crying right now.
Oh, well, Fran Lottie. Yeah. This is KDB, and man, your son is one well of a good guy. Let me tell you that. I sure do enjoy him, and we appreciate you listening.
And my brother's listening in Arkansas.
Your brother's listening in Arkansas.
Wait, I moved up here.
Is he a Razorbacks fan? We can't be having that.
He's still all Georgia, and he's catching it out there for it, I guess.
Well, why?
I moved up here thinking we were going to be closer, and they got transferred for work, so they're in Arkansas. He listens. It's so funny when I come in after a game, no matter what, because he listens to the broadcast. I'm telling you, whenever we're on, and I'll have 50 texts on my phone when I get back. So anyway, I want to say hey to him too.
Well, listen, if you are in Arkansas, or if you are in a different state, or maybe just out of this area, you can get the Access WDUN app and listen to us wherever and whenever you please, or go to WDUN.com and do the same. You talked about the student body. You look really good in that helmet.
He is awesome.
Are we getting a picture of him in the helmet? Okay, good, Chris. I appreciate that. You talked about the student body, and obviously all of them are right here in front of us to watch the SRO take down those wings. Talk a little more, elaborate about this wonderful student body you've got at West Hall High School.
Oh, they're great. That was one of the things, too, when we got here and formed a club. It's called the Phalanx. And what it is it's a student body leadership team. And their prime function is they work as a liaison between the football program and the student body and things like that. But, our student body and our student section now at the games, you'll see them start to come out. They're a very important part of our school. They are the important part of our school. And we want them to know that, every kid there is valued. The faculty spends a lot of time with them, obviously, but they're great. I mean, like you said, we're sitting here looking, and you can look at them all, the young faces standing out there. Yeah. They know they're important in the Spartan Nation, and we're just very fortunate to have the great kids that we have.
All right, well, we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. Do we want to count down to the start of the Wing Challenge, Spartan Nation? Let's give them a countdown. Let's start at 3.
3, 2, 1. You want to take it out?
First wing. Let's do a little play-by-play here, Coach Tony Lottie. He's got 6 minutes, Ben Williams does, to get these hot wings down.
But I like his effort. I like his effort.
I like the effort.
He's attacking the bone.
That's right. And,
he's not being deterred.
No.
He's focused. I like the focus.
And he's got a good grip on that helmet so that it doesn't move. It doesn't get any wing sauce on it, more importantly. Ben Williams downing those wings. We are probably going to have to exit the show before he gets done, but don't forget, everybody out there listening, you can go to our Facebook page, Game On with KDB Davis, and see a video of this grotesque exercise of fast wing eating. Have you ever done a wing contest?
No. Now, I'll tell you this. No, I haven't. Let's just leave it.
All right. That's fantastic. Hey, Ben, I just need a little nod. We don't want to mess with your mojo. Are the wings hot, buddy? Yeah, the wings are hot. I figured that's what we would see.
You're going to take the helmet off.
Go Spartan Nation. That's right. He's got it. He's doing it for you guys. Give him some cheers.
Let's hear it.
That's fantastic. How many has he downed? How many has he downed?
He's got 4, I think.
3 down? 4 down. How many does he have to eat, Mike? He's got to eat 12. He's got to eat 12.
He's a champ now, I'm telling you. He's not going. There's no quit in him. That time limit will run out first.
We've
never lost.
I don't know.
We may run out of time in some games, but we never lost. He ain't going to lose.
I don't know if he's holding that helmet up for any other reason than to air himself out a little bit because it is hot. All right, folks, listen, we've got to wrap it up here at Buffalo Wild Wings on Dawsonville Highway, but I got to tell you, Spartan Nation, you have been amazing, Coach Tony Lottie. You've been amazing. Remember, the video of the wing eater, Ben Williams, will be up on Game On with KDB Davis later tonight. What fun, folks. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, KDB.
WDUN Game